o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. People are still hopping on, but for all you that are tuning in, thanks for joining us. If you will make sure that your name is, you have your name as your attendee so that we can put you in the drawing, and we will we'll draw for the winners and announce those at the end of Chief Mitchell's presentation. And if you have questions, you can use the chat feature, and I'll be monitoring those, and we'll get your questions in that way. So, all right, Madam President, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's so good to have everyone join us for our first membership meeting. It is virtual, and we're so glad that you could be part of it. I'm so honored and privileged to introduce our police chief, Floyd Mitchell. He has quite the impressive bio. Appointed as the Lubbock Police Chief in November of 2019, Chief Mitchell leads a staff of 546 law enforcement and civilian members, responsible for an area of more than 135 square land miles with a population of more than 250,000 residents. Wow. Before making his way to the city of Lubbock, Chief Mitchell served as the police chief in Temple, Texas, just over 4 years. He also served for more than 25 years with and retired from the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. Chief Mitchell is a military veteran of the United States Air Force, completing tours of assignments in the Royal Air Force Bentwaters, England, and Pease Air Force Base, Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Chief Mitchell holds a master's degree in business administration from Baker University, is a certified public manager through Texas State University, and is a graduate of the FBI National Academy Associates, Quantico, Virginia, and the Police Executive Research Forum's Senior Management Institute for Policing at Boston College. I told y'all it was impressive. Chief Mitchell continues to be a strong advocate for community policing, stating that it is vitally important that those in law enforcement take the first step toward finding new and engaging ways to connect and empower every segment of our society. Thank you so much for being here, Chief. Please take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for inviting me to present to this group. Looks like we have 86 participants so far, and I may have ran into several of you at the Builders Associating meeting. It seems several months ago in South Lubbock. There was a lot of folks there, and I got to talk to a lot of folks there, so that was really fun. What I wanted to do today, because I know your time is valuable, is kind of do a recap of the 2020 statistics that we track here at the police department, just some of the statistics we track here at the police department. And I know, crime is one of those major factors from a realtor standpoint that your new buyers are acutely aware of. So want to let you know kind of what's going on and some of our analysis of that, and then talk about our new deployment plan that actually went into effect this past Saturday, January the 16th. We deployed into 3 patrol divisions. We are not in those stations yet, but I'll also give you some information in regards to when that first station is going to open up, and these officers will then start occupying those stations. So with that, I'll get started with my PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so our department is broken up into 3 patrol bureaus. We have 3 bureaus. You have the Patrol Bureau, which when most people think of police departments, they're thinking of a patrol bureau. These are the uniformed officers that you see out there in the cars, driving up and down the streets, responding to calls for service, responding to calls of traffic accidents, speeding, thefts, or any other type of a person's crime or assaults or things like that. That is that patrol bureau format right there. It is led by Assistant Chief Nathan White. And again, we are deploying into 3 patrol division stations. The East Patrol will be the first to open up, then South Patrol, then North Patrol, and then you have the Patrol Support Unit. That's your traffic enforcement, your accident investigation, your mounted patrol. That all falls under the Patrol Bureau. Then you have the Investigations Bureau. So say your car gets broken into, the patrol officer, the uniformed officer will respond out there and take the report. Then that report goes into the Investigations Bureau, and that's led by Assistant Chief Neil Barron. And Neil has the criminal investigations piece, which investigates those crimes. And he also has the special operations division, which does all your undercover operations in regards to narcotics purchases, narcotics sales. They do vice stings or prostitution decoys. They are the super secret police to go out there and do those type of investigations. And then you have the administration bureau, and that there is taking care of your academy, whether it be your new recruit academy, your in-service training, and just the overall operation of the department. Then you have the Executive Services Bureau, which really handles our budget process, and that all falls under Assistant Chief John Caspel. So that's how the department's laid out. The police department is authorized 465 positions, and that's just a breakdown of our positions. You got chief of police, 3 assistant chiefs. You have 8 people that serve in the rank of captain, and some carry the title of deputy chief depending on their assignments. Like the captains that will run the patrol division stations, they carry the title of deputy chief there. You have your lieutenants, your sergeants, and your detectives, and your patrol officer. Again, you can see the vast amount of personnel here fall under that patrol officer format. What a lot of people don't realize is that we have a pretty large civilian staff. We have over 115 civilian positions. And we always tell people you can serve your community not only in uniform as a police officer, but there are several civilian positions that you can serve in, whether it's public safety officer. These are our civilians that sit up at the front desk and take walk-in reports. Our forensic specialists, these are the folks that go out and collect all of our evidence, whether it be trace evidence, fingerprints, DNA. They do that at our crime scenes. Our public information officers, they communicate our messages out to the news agencies and to our public. Dispatchers and call takers, when you call 911, these are the folks that take that information and dispatch it out to the officers. Records unit, crime analyst, management assistant, and administrative assistants. So when you look at our activity for 2020, the police department had just under 150,000 calls for service, 148,000 calls for service in 2020. That is someone picking up the phone and calling 911, and we're responding out to that call. We also had just over 75,000, and that's that number right here on the officer-initiated calls. Just over 76,000 officer-initiated activities. That is, an officer is driving down the street. He sees something that he or she sees something that they want to stop a person or get out and find out what's going on. That could be an open door. That could be a suspicious party. That could be a speeder. It could be anything. There were over 76,000 of those events. When you look at the statistics for last year, we had a 3% decrease in calls for service over the year before. We correlate a lot of that to COVID. We were shut down for quite some time, and a lot of people stayed at home. And you had a 13% decrease in our officer-initiated calls. And again, during that COVID event, we told our officers to, limit their contacts. If you see something that's illegal, address that. But we also were, being careful and kind of shut down for those 3 months. But total, we had over 225 events, our officer contacts last year. The graphs that you see to the right of that slide, they talk about, what's our busiest day. Just like most cities, our busiest days are usually Fridays and Saturdays throughout the year. We experienced just over 22,000 calls for service on Saturday, and the same for Friday and Saturday. And we also track, our calls for service for day of the week, our hour of the day. So we kind of get an idea of, when do we need to staff up because the calls for service workload goes up.
Hey, Chief, can you check your mic maybe where you're kind of going in and out volume wise?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I will try to get a little closer to it. The mic is, I believe, in the speaker. So you'll have to let me know if necessary. I will change cameras.
It's good right there.
Good right there? Okay, perfect.
Well, but now you're softer. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on. You might turn it. Here, I'm going to mute you and then unmute you and see what happens.
All right. How about now?
You're a little soft right now.
The speaker is actually in the camera, I believe. So we may be having a problem with that. Let me.
That's good right there. I don't know what you did.
Right there. Maybe the speaker's over here. Okay, we'll aim this way when we talk. Is
Okay.
that better?
That seems to be, yeah.
Let me see if I can get this. Okay, all right. So the next, one of the next metrics that we try to that we measure is our response time. So that the dark blue talks about how long it takes for our dispatchers to dispatch the call. That means you dialing 911, the officer or the dispatcher picking up that call, taking the information, and then putting it out to the officer. The lighter blue is the time it takes from the time the officer gets the call to responding to your location. And last year we averaged just about 4 minutes and 49 seconds for a total response time of just over 7 minutes for our priority 1 calls for service. As you can see, for our priority 2 calls for service, it was right about 8:14. So our priority 1 are our most important calls for service, the ones we try to get to the quickest. Crimes against person. Last year was an anomaly for our Lubbock Police Department. As most of you know, I just completed my first year here, and Lubbock averages somewhere around 16 to 20 homicides a year. Last year we had quite a few homicides, and when we look at those, we talk about, as you can see, that overall crime went down in our crimes against person, went down 14%, but our homicides were up quite a bit. And I'm going to go to this next slide here. Because when we look at our analysis, we kind of talk about what is causing our homicides. And as you can see, the leader or the category that's leading all other categories is domestic violence, whether it either be a girlfriend and boyfriend, a husband and wife, or our parent and child. We experienced 11 homicides that were categorized as domestic violence. Then we had 8 disputes to where people, got into some type of argument with each other. And when you look at the majority of our homicides, except for the self-defense and the random ones, and you have the vehicular manslaughter, that's, kids racing, going through intersections and get involved in an accident, people traveling, 35, 45, 60 miles an hour over the speed limit. Those people are charged with crimes, and that falls into our homicide category. But most of our victims, but for your vehicular manslaughter, your self-defense cases, and those 2 random ones that we had here, that we experienced here in Lubbock, most of our victims knew their assailant, which is very telling of what's going on in our community. Property crimes went down 11% in 2020. We experienced just under 11,000 events of property crimes, and that's burglary of a building, burglary of a residence, auto thefts, and things like that. But when you look at that Excel spreadsheet, you can see that we were down in all but one category, and that was burglary of a building, but all the other categories were down for last year. So we experienced an 11% decrease in our property crimes. Traffic crashes, again, we're down in all the categories there. Traffic crashes without accidents, traffic crashes without injuries, traffic crashes with injuries, and our total fatality numbers went down almost 50% last year, which was very good. So we're going to talk a little bit about our patrol division deployment, and I can stop here. Teresa, if you would like to open it up for questions in regards to that first slide deck.
Okay, do we have any questions that have been put in the chat?
I don't see any questions yet.
Well, I think one of the things that I had wondered myself was about the increase in crime. And I think you spelled that out very well. We saw a decrease except homicides, which I know, I think all of us have some concerns about domestic violence since the pandemic started, and especially those incidences of child abuse and things like that.
Right.
Anything else you can tell us about that, or are you expecting hopefully better numbers in 2021?
Well, we hope so, and I think it's too early just to say if it had to deal with the pandemic itself. We know a lot of people were at home, and when tensions get high when you have everyone at home. But we had some incidents to where a boyfriend set an apartment on fire and it ended up killing 2 people because his girlfriend was in there. It hits everything. It ranges all over the place. A father neglected their child, left it in a car, but that father is is charged with those things. And then you have the girlfriend, boyfriend, where, we had an incident to where the girlfriend stabbed her boyfriend and he ended up dying. We had boyfriends, assault or kill their girlfriends and then commit suicide. We had 2 instances of that last year, murder suicide, where and they're really young men, killed their girlfriend and then killed themselves. So it's really all over the place. One of the things that really popped up this year was our vehicular manslaughter. We had a couple of kids racing that went through intersections and killed people, and those folks are charged, and they falls under our homicide categories. And just going, being negligent by going 30 to 40 miles an hour over the speed limit and going through an intersection and killing people. Our overall fatality accidents went down, like I said, almost 50%, but we did experience 5 of those. So we hope those numbers come back down as best as from what we normally see in this size of community.
Good, thank you.
Okay, so we're going to talk about our patrol deployment plan. So before this past Saturday, we deployed in a 2 patrol division format. The city was basically split up between 34th Street and North Patrol Division, and then everything south of 34th Street was South Patrol Division. What we wanted to do is make our patrol division area smaller. So we work with our consultants. And so we looked at the demand for our city and we came up with our 3 patrol division format. And it's going to coincide with our 3 new patrol division stations. So you're going to have North Patrol Division, which is going to be your northwest part of the city, that green area. Then you have your East Patrol Division, which is that blue area. And then South Patrol Division, which is that orangish beige area, or orange area there. And you can see the demand for services based on those percentages. East Patrol was 35%, North Patrol will be 31%, and South Patrol will be 34%. And we're going to assign officers to each of these patrol divisions based on the demand for service. So when you look at our patrol division stations, North Patrol Division is going to be at 5910 Erskine Street, and it is the last one is going to be open. But as you look at it, you can see that the map is then broken down into beats, and each officer is assigned to one of these beats every day, 365 days a year. You will have an officer assigned to each of these areas, and they will be responsible for that area. So that's what North Patrol is, how it's broken down. South Patrol would be broken down similarly. Again, 4 beats, officers assigned to each of those beats, and then, so you have your zone, which is 21, then your beat. And then you have your zone, which is 22, and your beat. So 8 officers working in this area 24/7, 365 days a year. And the same thing for East Patrol, it is broken down the same way. So East Patrol Division Station, it was the first one to break ground, and its expected completion date is going to be July of 2021. South Patrol Division is not very far behind it. In its expected open date, it will be September, October of 2021, and then North Patrol will open up about 30 to 60 days after that, and it will open up November, December of 2021. And so you guys are welcome to drive by and take a look at these facilities. I'm sure some of you have. And I'm sure as realtors, when you're driving people around the neighborhoods looking at houses, you can say those are the new patrol division stations where police officers we're really trying to embed ourselves in each of those communities and in each of those neighborhoods. That is really it. I wanted to leave time for people if they had any questions about either the crime and our response to the crime, or the new patrol division format and kind of what we're looking toward going to in the future.
Chief Mitchell, what do you think are the greatest strengths we have in Lubbock?
From a law enforcement standpoint?
Yes.
I think from a law enforcement standpoint, being here 14 months now, and you're really getting to know our law enforcement officers. One, they really care about this community, and I don't say that just to say that. Our folks are really getting engaged. This past Monday, they were out picking up trash on Martin Luther Day of Service, and just I think with the patrol division stations, the people who live in those neighborhoods, we're going to have community rooms. We're going to have scheduled events there. If you want to hold an event there, we don't charge for our community room. You could hold the Lubbock Realtors Association group meeting there. So really trying to provide an opportunity for people within those communities to use our facility and come in and interact with our officers. But, I believe just the people in Lubbock and the people of the police department.
Hey, that's how we sell Lubbock too. It's the wonderful people and the beautiful blue skies, sunsets and sunrises. So along those lines, then what do you expect to see in the future, and what are our challenges still?
The biggest challenge that I see facing our department right now is filling those vacant positions. We are authorized 465 law enforcement officers. Right now we're hovering right around 105, 110. And we have approximately 27 people in our academy. And they graduated, we'll graduate 13 and then we'll graduate another 17, like three months later. But it's affecting law enforcement all over the United States, especially with everything that happened this last year with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and everything else. All law enforcement agencies are having a difficult time recruiting folks, but we are working hard to fill our positions because my message to my folks is just think of how much more we could do if we got those positions filled. And these are funded positions. It's not like the council or anyone else is saying, no, we're not going to fund those positions. They're funded. We're just having a difficult time, one, identifying quality candidates and getting them through the hiring process. So of the 94 people on this call right now, if you know a young man or a young woman, when I say young, they just have to be under 45 to join our academy. We are looking for some quality people to become Lubbock police officers. We have a testing, I want to say the first week of March. I can get you that date so you can ship out to those folks, but it's a civil service test. We start people off in the academy while we're teaching them for 6 months at just over $51,000. And this is a great job. And this is a great time to be in policing. You have a lot of people leaving policing right now because of everything that's happened this last year. But this is a great job. And this is a good department. We're going to have just about all of our facilities will be new except for our police academy by the end of 2023. Early 2024, we'll have 3 new patrol division stations. We're going to have a new headquarters. We're going to have a new property and evidence and forensic lab. The citizens here in Lubbock appreciate their police department and are building us all these new facilities. So it's going to be fun. It's an exciting time, but it's a time of transition. We're going from a centralized deployment format to a decentralized deployment format. So it's real. I'm excited about the future.
Well, we certainly are too, and we will carry that banner for you too, and send recruits anytime we find them. Okay, do we have any other questions in the chat?
We do. I see one says, almost daily, I see a lot of people running, speeding through red lights and nearly causing accidents. Just wanted to know if you can still use cameras to send citations.
No, we don't use cameras here in Lubbock. And I know a lot of, there's been a lot of debate back and forth with cameras, who's driving the car, is it constitutional? But the council here,
Charlie Rosentritter.
Yeah, the council here has not moved in a direction that we don't send out traffic cams. We don't have those in Lubbock.
Okay, also, Chief, they want to know, will we be able to have copies of your maps?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, you guys, I will send this presentation to you. There's nothing on here that we wouldn't share with anyone. It's a very exciting time. And just to be clear, we have deployed into that format now, even though we're in headquarters. So what will happen when that first station opens up is about 72 to 85 police officers will then move from 917 Texas Avenue, our headquarters, to that patrol division station in East Patrol. And when South Patrol opens up, another 70 to 80 officers will move into that building. And when East Patrol opens up, another 70 to 80 officers, when North Patrol opens up, another 70 to 80 officers will move in that position. But we are in that format now. Those division chiefs have been identified. The officers have already bid for their shifts, and they are working those shifts right now. So we wanted to move into that deployment format before those facilities opened up so we could work out any bugs that may present themselves. And Saturday went off pretty much without a hitch. We had a couple of CAD issues or computer-aided dispatch issues that we worked out within an hour, but those facilities aren't open yet. But like I said, if you drive by those addresses, you can see they're well under construction. But yes, I'll send that to you, Kate.
And Chief, I've noticed the address for the North Patrol was 5910 Erskine. Can you give those addresses for the other two locations?
Yes, ma'am. So East Patrol is 1901 East 19th Street. It's on this slide at the top there.
Okay. Oh, yes. Okay.
I'll email that to Kate. That way he has it and he can email it out to the group.
Okay.
South Patrol is 14005 Indiana. It's right next to the ISD head.
Separate.
Yeah,
yes.
It's right there. And then North Patrol is going to be at 5910 Erskine Street. And again, it's under construction as well. The new police headquarters will be just trying to get my directions right here, just north of Citizens Tower. They're building the parking garage right now, and it's going to be just to the other side. I should say west, just west of Citizens Tower. And then the forensic lab will be down there by our fleet location, and it's on this slide right here. Is the future property room and forensic lab. It's going to be right there.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. I have another one. Did you talk about this? I'm sorry. The starting age to be an officer is 18. Is that?
No. You have to be at least 20 and a half, because the state of Texas says you have to be 21 to be a certified law enforcement officer in the state of Texas. So we're interviewing folks for our class that starts March 27th. And I've got a couple of young men in there that are 20 years and 18 months. So you have to be at least 20 and a half, and you cannot be over 45, because that's a really young age.
Okay, and follow up to that, what about holding junior police boot camp trainings in the high schools, similar to what ROTC does?
Right now, what we do is we have an Explorer program, and we're going to expand that to where we're going to have a troop at each of the patrol division stations. Our officers do work with the school districts and go in and talk to the kids. One of the things that we've ran into is you have that gap of the time they graduate until the time they get to 20 and a half or 21, and we kind of lose some of that. But we do share with them, one, what we're looking for, one, what to stay away from in regards to the use of drugs. Speeding tickets is what gets a lot of our young men in trouble, and they have to wait till their record clears up some. But we do work with our high schools, but we need to improve that communication and do a little bit more. And I'm hoping the goal is, when these patrol division stations are embedded in those neighborhoods, that division works with the schools in that geographical area. That's the goal.
That's excellent.
And Chief, how long does the process take once they apply?
Too long. I will tell you. But there's certain things that we have to do. So we're testing the first week of March. They'll take the test. They'll do a physical assessment at that point in time, and then they'll have to go through. Then they'll get a personal history statement, is what we call it, and it's like taking a microscope to your past. But it's something we have to do. So they'll fill out the personal history statement, and then they'll get an interview with the board, and it's like 5 or 6 command staff and officer levels that interview the candidates, and then I get an interview with them. But from start to finish, you're talking somewhere between 60 to 90 days. And then we'll make you a job offer, and then the academy takes 6 months to go through. But you are being paid from the time you start the academy forward.
Hey, great. Okay, here's a question. Is there any type of evaluation and or notification to mental health departments if there are multiple problems of violence with the same person over a period of time?
Are you talking about?
I think that refers to the public. to somebody in the public?
So we have a number of officers are mental health officers, certified. And what we try to do is when we have calls that deal with mental health issues, we try to make sure that an officer that has mental health training responds to those calls. One of the things that we are working with our local community with Star Care, looking at a model to which a police officer and a mental health professional responds to those calls. And we identify a lot of those folks who have mental health issues are just in crisis. Something has happened that causes them to go into crisis mode. So we're looking at a co-responder model right now. We're working through that to identify, one, what type of calls should there be a co-responder model, meaning a police officer and a mental health professional? Because what we see is when people are in crisis, they make poor decisions. And as a police officer, we don't have the psychological background and training to deal with a lot of those folks. So one, we try to identify officers who have additional training to respond to those calls, but is it better, especially based on some of the things that we've seen this last year, to have a mental health professional go to those calls? But we also have to take that mental health professional's safety into consideration as well. Because some of the models are like, why are the police responding to these calls altogether? Well, if you send a mental health professional out there without any protection, and you have someone who is suffering from PCP or just a disconnect, and they have some type of weapon, are you putting that mental health professional in danger? It is a lot to work through, but I believe law enforcement now is really trying to identify what are the best practices moving forward as we respond to people that are in mental health crisis.
Great. I think this is the last question. Is there still a homeless unit, and how is that going?
Yes, we still have our HOT team, a homeless outreach team, and it's going good. We have not been able to do as many, presentations. We're suffering from the same thing everyone else is suffering from when everything's set down. But no, the HOT team's still out there. They're still trying to interact and get people off the streets and into housing, working again with our community partners. But no, that team has not gone anywhere. They're still working every day.
Great. Lots of comments about thank you, LPD. Great presentation. Appreciate what y'all do. Lots of comments about that.
Okay, I appreciate the opportunity. And Kate, I will get Elisa to send this deck right over to you. That way you have it, and feel free to share it with all of your members.
Great. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Chief, we so appreciate all that you do for our city, and we look forward to working with you. And we're anxious to come and see your new facilities too.
So let me. So this year, the Lubbock Police Department will be celebrating its 100th anniversary. We've got a lot planned for this year. And we are going to be doing grand openings for those patrol division stations. Each of them are in different council members' districts. So, they like to throw a good party. So we're going to have a good time with that. Hopefully at that point in time, we're at a point to where we can have a whole bunch of people in, but we want to show off those stations. We want to celebrate our 100th year anniversary, and we want to celebrate that with our public. So I look forward for some messaging for that. I don't know if you guys follow the Lubbock Police Department's social media pages, but they're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I only do Twitter, and I tweet out things every once in a while, so feel free to follow me as well. And we try to communicate as much as we possibly can, but look forward to that this year.
Oh, that's awesome. Count us in. We'll be there.
All right, awesome.
Thank you, Chief Mitchell. We sure appreciate your time and all of this great information, and we will get it out to our members.
Thank you. You guys have a great meeting.
Thank you.